So we have seen emot app microservices and this deployment. So now we will wrap this Docker Compose with the sharing images on the Docker Hub. So Docker comes with the ability to easily move images to other places, and Docker Incorporation created the Docker Hub as a free service to encourage this sharing. So you can create an account and you can start sharing that. So here we want to share a Docker image publicly, and for that we have to use this information: username, registry is required, registry, host, and Docker Hub and index. So let's say your username on the Docker Hub is Charan. Then the following three commands show you how to copy the Debian VG image from the Docker Hub to be under your own account. So you can use Docker pull account to pull the Debian image from the Docker Hub, and Docker tag, you can tag this like this, and then tag the VZ image with your own username Charan and tag my VZ. Then you can push this into and then you can do Docker push. So once you do the Docker push, it will be reflected into the your Docker Hub account. So copying a public image and pushing it to the Docker Hub account, a similar way that we can do it. So let's do this experiment. So let me get into a machine. So our app is up and running even now. You can see that it's emot app. It's still up and running. You can see all the mobile phone, chessboard, wired headset, t-shirt, whatever you want to buy. You can buy AirPods also. Let it up and running. By the time, let me do Docker images. And here you see an emot app web API, emot app client, emot API, and Mongo, MySQL, and Nginx. Each image I am gonna push this into my Docker Hub account. For that, first let me log into my account, Docker Hub login. Docker login. So username and password. So login succeeded. Now let's start tagging the image and then pushing image into Docker Hub. So Docker tag image name emot web API and latest, and that I'm going to convert into cube charan / emot app web API and version 1. So it's been tagged. Now you can check that Docker images. Yes, so now let me push this Docker push and then web API and version 1. So it's being pushed. So this one has been pushed. Now let's tag another image. This time it's client. So Docker tag emot app client latest, and I'm gonna say cube charan and emot app client version 1. So it's been tagged. You can check Docker images. Yes, you can see that. Now I'm gonna push this Docker push and cube charan. It is client and version 1. Let me push this. The push, it's being pushed. So that's it. Then we have few more Docker images. So this time it's API Docker tag emart API latest. So kubectl and emart API, sorry, emart app API version 1. And then let's push this docker push and kube API version 1. So this image is getting pushed. Now Mongo MySQL Nginx, we are gonna push MySQL. It's version 5.7, Mongo version 4, and Nginx is latest. So Nginx anyway we have in our repository, so I am not going to push Nginx. So MySQL 5.7 I am gonna push. So this time docker tag it's Mongo, and so kubectl Mongo version 4 and docker push kubectl Mongo version 4. That's it. And one more docker images, one more. It's MySQL 5.7. So docker tag MySQL 5.7 version, and it's a kubectl MySQL version 5.7. And now let me push this. So kubectl MySQL version 5.7. So with this, all the containers, all the images have been pushed, tagged, and pushed to our Docker Hub. So let's get into the Docker Hub and let's cross check. Yep, here is my Docker Hub. So let me go back to the repositories. Repositories, here it is. Just now pushed Mongo, Emart API, Emart App Client, Emart Web API, all 4 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, a minute ago, and a few seconds ago, kubectl MySQL. So MySQL has 2 tags now. One is 5.7 and V1. So 2 tags we have at this moment for the MySQL because we have pushed one more version. Even Nginx also we can push. Let me check Nginx. Nginx I also have latest. I don't need to do it. So that's it. That's how we push the images. And let's look into one more concept, that is environment as a process. So here one way of viewing Docker is to see it has turning environments into processes. Again, VMs can be treated in the same way, but Docker makes this much more convenient and efficient. To illustrate this, I'll show you how to speedily spin up storage, and a recreation of container state can allow you to do something otherwise do impossible to do that. So start the 2048 container. So that's the exercise. You can do it. So here the problem is we want to save container states. That's the main important aspect here. We want to we want to save the container state regularly in order to revert to a known state if necessary. For that, the solution is docker commit to save game whenever you are unsure whether you will survive. So for that we have created the monolithic image on which you can play 2048 within a Docker container that contains a VNC server and a Firefox. So to use this image you will need to install a VNC client, and a popular implementations include Tiger VNC and VNC Viewer, whichever is fine. So if you don't have one, then quick search for VNC client on the package manager on your host using apt search VNC client, then you will get it one. So to use this image, you will need after that you install a VNC client. So to start up the container, let's run the following commands. You use docker run and detached mode port mapping 5901 to 5901 and another port mapping 6080 to 6080 and name is win2048. So, and we also require VNC viewer to host it. So VNC viewer localhost 1. So first you run a container from this image which somebody has prepared for us, and that's one. And you start in the background and specify that it should open two ports. One is 5901 and other one is 6080 to the host. So first you run a container from this Win2048 image which somebody has prepared. So then after that we can run our VNC viewer. That executable may differ depending on what you have installed, and instruct it to connect to your local computer too. Now you will see a window when you open it in a Firefox. So preloaded, so that you can experiment it if you want it, or just let's leave it. But this is one way of doing to basically save the container states regularly. So for that you have to use VNC viewer, and you have to run your container in two ports. And if you just want to stop everything, just use docker rm and docker stop container and docker remove the container, and then if you want to rerun it again, you can rerun it. That's how our Docker Compose works. So with Docker Compose, we have seen a lot of examples. We have done mega projects and we have gone through the each and every command.